The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, the Canadian Union of Postal Workers held a protest in Vancouver.
People gathered at Robson Square for the International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
And a Vancouver painter shares what inspired him to become an artist.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Jeff Mallow.
I'm Matt Lawson. We're here at the Vancouver Christmas Market at the Jack Pool Plaza. Supporters and members of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers marched in Vancouver as part of a nationwide day of action. My co-anchor Jeff Mallow has the story.
In Vancouver, members of Cup W alongside their supporters marched through the streets as part of a nationwide day of action. They protested Prime Minister Trudeau's back-to-work legislation that put an end to the rotating strikes. The march started outside a Federal Service Center on West Broadway. From there, they marched to Burrard and then made their way to Vancouver City Hall. The message they wanted to deliver was simple. They don't want to be an afterthought.
We're here to send a message that they can't trample on workers' rights one weekend and forget about it the next.
As Liberal MP Joyce Murray approached City Hall to take part in a town hall on climate change, she was met by the protesters.
Respect workers' rights!
We are committed to restoring respect for and within the public service and have taken a number of measures to do that. And I would love to see the union and the employer come to a
We can't do that when you undermine.
Despite trying to plead her case, she was lambasted by protesters.
Government.
What are you going to do something about
While the rally didn't resolve the dispute, for some, it was greatly appreciated.
It's overwhelming how many people showed up, how many allies and friends, how many people are actually paying attention and watching what's going on and understanding that with our rights being taken away, it's actually Canadian rights that are being violated.
After a nationwide day of action, the postal workers are still at odds with the government, and it could still be a while before any agreement is reached. Jeff Mallow in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A group called Kickstart Disabilities Art and Culture held an event to highlight the everyday difficulties facing people with disabilities. Our reporter Catherine Garrett brings us more.
International Day of Persons with Disabilities today. Here, take a card. It's UN Declaration. Sure, thank you.
Arguably, one of the biggest challenges living with a disability is just being seen. The Kickstarter gathering tried to address that. This particular celebration is the only one in Vancouver held outside. The gathering drew a wide range of people, from those with disabilities themselves to allies of the community. The organizers hope to not only increase visibility for the community, but to also bring together people who might not otherwise meet.
Learn something about a person who lives with a disability, speak to them. Don't go to somebody else. Don't go to a reference book. Don't go to somebody else and ask their opinion. If you want to know about a person who lives with a disability and what their needs are, speak to that person and find out what their needs are. It's the only way you're going to know.
Oftentimes, invisible disability is not something that's discussed or really understood. There's a lot of isolation that's involved with it.
The International Day of Persons with Disabilities, originally designated by the UN in 1992, has a different theme every year. This year, it was all about empowerment, inclusiveness, and equality. Catherine Garrett in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A group of organizations called Project Everybody is hosting an art show for the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. As our reporter Ashley Moliere found out, one artist isn't letting his disability get in the way of his creative side.
With art in his name, it seems like Arturius Johncrino was bound to be a painter, but he didn't always feel that way.
I was very driven, business-like, goal-oriented, busy as ever, working on my business until an incident that put me in a wheelchair, okay? Then I had to figure out life again.
Johncrino says he started to scribble on a dare from his friend almost 20 years ago, and the rest is history. Artists with disabilities were able to sell their pieces and perform live at the Project Everybody show to help celebrate inclusion. But it's about much more than that.
I, myself, and others like me will get a chance to get a reaction from people. And for me, it's always exciting to hear someone say, "Oh, wow, that's great," or "Oh, wow, that's terrible."
And organizers agree.
So here we're hopefully creating a platform for that, for people to come and get a better sense of all the diverse talents that exist in our community, and perhaps change their perception of how they see ability and disability.
Johncrino thinks more people should try creating art themselves because the experience is always mind-opening and rewarding. Ashley Moliere in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
We're joined now by our reporter Ashley Moliere. So Ashley, what types of art were showcased at this event?
Yeah, so there were definitely different types of art that were showcased today. There were paintings, sculptures, and cards for sale, but there were also some live performances going on. So we had some piano playing as well as some singing.
BC's Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction, Shane Simpson, made it out to the event. Ashley, what did he have to say?
So Minister Simpson was there, and he reiterated an announcement he had made earlier in the day where he said that 16 projects worth about $500,000 were currently going on towards inclusion and access for the disability community throughout the province. He also said that the government is currently working very hard for disability rights. Back to you.
Coming up after the break, Shoreline Cleanup, Winter Edition.
And a Christmas tradition gets passed on.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station. Like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
Shoreline cleanups usually take place in the spring and the summer. My co-anchor Jeff Mala went down to Vanier Park this week to see a colder kind of cleanup.
The sustainable team from UBC's Earth, Ocean, Atmosphere Science Department was out on the Vanier Park shoreline on this cold morning. In groups, they went out to collect any piece of trash they could find.
We find that there are a lot of these cleanups through the spring and the summer and the early fall, and then kind of end of September into October, they largely shut off, and so this area hasn't been cleaned for a couple months.
It's a messy job for these volunteers, but they're motivated.
It's a great initiative to come out and clean up some garbage and help make the beaches and the parks around here a nicer place.
The trash they find is recorded, and that gives researchers more insight about what kind of garbage is washed up. If you want to know what a group of volunteers found here at Vanier Park, well, you might be surprised. Not only did they manage to fill up this garbage can full of trash, but they also managed to find this orange pylon on the beach and whatever this is underneath Burrard Bridge. But the cleanup isn't just about making the shoreline clean. It's about keeping it safe for everyone and everything.
We tend to think of the harms to the marine environment. So if it ends up in the water, then seabirds, mammals, little fish, they mistake it for food, and then they end up getting malnourished.
The trash could also affect man's best friend. At Vanier Park, dogs often roam around unleashed near the shoreline.
You can cut your own waste by refusing takeout containers, using reusable water bottles instead of disposable ones. And then when they're down in this area, you can be very cognizant of making sure you pack in, or rather you pack out exactly what you've brought with you.
After this group effort, the council feels more content about the state of Vancouver shorelines. Jeff Mell in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A retired couple is passing along an annual Christmas tradition to their neighbors. Our reporter Daria Zargar sheds light on why this night means so much.
3, 2, 1. Holiday cheer warmed up this cold December night as loved ones huddled in awe of twinkling lights. This house has it all: Santa, reindeer crossings, and even Homer Simpson. The Christmas decorations are a part of an annual residential lighting in Surrey. Make-A-Wish aims to raise money to help kids who are not as fortunate during this time of year.
My youngest daughter, Julia, had hip dysplasia, and Children's Hospital is just amazing. Like, I know it's not I don't even know how to say it. It's not a huge thing. It's a common problem that kids have, but they've just been amazing to us.
More than 40,000 lights glowed on one corner of 193 B Street. The setup started in October. More decorations were added every weekend leading up to this day. A previous host of the attraction says this yearly display brought her family lots of happiness.
Every December, we got to sit in our living room and listen to a lot of joy. And so I'm going to miss that. But the fact that it's going to still be here and the kids are still going to get that joy it means everything.
Hot chocolate and pictures with Santa had everyone smiling. All donations will go towards BC Children's Hospital. Daria Zargar in Surrey for BCIT Magazine.
We are joined by Daria. So you mentioned that one of the daughters has a hip problem. How did this affect the family?
Yeah, so Jeff, the mom said that their eldest daughter had hip dysplasia. Basically what this means is that the hip is out of its socket, and this thing is also common among lots of younger children and is what drove them to do this light up.
Did they say they would carry on this Christmas tradition?
Yes, so they did say that the previous owners will be helping them for the next couple of years, and they will be continuing on this Christmas tradition.
We're joined now by Herb Florin of Bowen Island Herb Salts at the Vancouver Christmas Market. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for visiting the Mulling Spice House at the Vancouver Christmas Market.
So, Bernd, what are we dealing with here?
We brought to the Christmas market 4 different flavors of herb salts that we make on Bowen Island. We grow all the herbs in our garden. If I grab one of these, we like to pack them into these decorative and very functional salt mills. They release the flavors nicely of both the salt and the herbs. So we have an original blend, a very unique berry, beautiful citrus blend, and a Mediterranean blend, all of which are quite popular with visitors of the Christmas market.
What kinds of things would people use these salts for?
These salts are quite versatile. They are good on anything that comes from the barbecue. They're good on steamed and grilled vegetables. I love mine on the breakfast omelette. My kids pour some of them or grind some of them on their popcorn. They're really quite versatile.
How long have you been doing the Christmas market?
This is our first year at the Vancouver Christmas Market. We've been growing herbs for quite some time on Bowen Island, and we've been making herb salts from them for the last 4 years. So it's been a steady journey that we've embarked on for a little while.
So it's your first time here. What's the reception been like from the people?
So far, everything that we've ever heard is quite positive. People seem to like our product. It looks good. It makes a beautiful Christmas present or stocking stuffer. We like being here. It's great.
So what's your favorite part about this Christmas market here?
Favorite part of a Christmas market? I'd be remiss if I wasn't talking about mulled wine, or as we back in Germany where I'm from call it Glühwein. They do a wonderful job here at the market, serving it nice and hot. And we brought our very own mulling spice, Glühweingewürz, that we make specifically in the winter time. So you take one of these little pouches of Glühweingewürz, use a bottle of red wine on your stovetop, and you have within a few minutes winter happiness. Or for a child-friendly alternative, you use apple juice and you make hot apple cider from this.
Is that something that is German tradition?
It's very much a German or Central European tradition in anywhere from the Alpine countries through Germany all the way to Scandinavia.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today, Bern. We really appreciate it. And that's all we got.
Thank you for having me.
Every year, almost 800 British Columbians are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and many die within the year. Our reporter Ashley Moyer finds a unique way one woman is educating others about the disease.
She was ridiculously strong. She was the one that was calming us down and telling us not to worry about everything.
2 years ago, Tiffany Morton lost her mother, Patricia, to pancreatic cancer. Tiffany's been educating her customers about this type of cancer the best way she knows how, through her makeup, specifically purple makeup.
Well, I've been doing a lot of looks for the month of November that have some form of purple in them, just because for pancreatic cancer awareness, the color is purple.
The initiative has been working.
Someone will usually comment and be like, oh, it's a really pretty purple glitter you're wearing, or, you know, and then I can strike up the conversation about it.
It's not just about starting a conversation. She wants people to take the severity of this disease more seriously, and experts agree.
So many other cancers, like breast cancer, people heard about it, people started talking about it, and great strides were made. And people hear the words pancreatic cancer and they just kind of shut down. They say, that's the deadly one. You don't make it through that one.
Whether it be through a smoky eye or bright lipstick, Tiffany hopes she can educate as many people as possible, and she knows her mother would approve.
When I told her I was going to move from Chilliwack to Vancouver to start my schooling in makeup, she was really supportive of me from the very beginning. So it's kind of my way of expressing myself with it, but it also brings in her support for me as well.
Ashley Moyer in New Westminster for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up, sign language class for infants.
And a holiday clothing drive for sex workers.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
But babe, it's the holidays. You don't want to spend time with me? Why?
Have you been regularly upsetting your significant other throughout the entire month of November? Well, good news for you, December is full of great date ideas. Welcome to Community Calendar. We're going to show you a bit more.
Take your special someone on a tour to Van Dusen Gardens. Van Dusen is absolutely lit at this time of the year, and if lights aren't their thing, then carousels, food trucks, and more are bound to happen.
If what you're needing is a weekend away, but your relationship isn't strong enough for a full weekend away in Whistler, head up to Grouse Mountain for their Peak of Christmas celebration. You can carve up the mountain with your skis or board, and you can even pay Santa Claus a visit. But if Santa Claus can't fix your problems,
then fly over to Canada Place for Christmas at Flyover Canada and join St. Nick as he goes coast to coast to coast to find his missing elves or what's missing in your relationship. Hey babe, yeah thanks. I'll see you tonight, all right? Thank you so much.
For everyone here at BCIT Magazine, Merry Christmas
and a Happy New Year.
Before babies can talk, they mainly use sounds to communicate. But what if you can really understand those sounds? Our reporter Erin Gillen has more.
So you're just connecting your fingertips to your thumbs, tapping out front for more.
More, a sign that most babies could use to let their parents know what they want without using any words.
Yeah, see? So much fun.
At a Gastown storefront, Leanne teaches American Sign Language to a group of moms who are eager to communicate with their babies before they can talk.
Tick, tock, now it's time to make it stop.
The mother of two remembers the first word her daughter signed.
There was a piece of pasta on the floor and she wanted to eat it because she knew it was food, but she'd never signed it before. So it was a bit of a mixed emotion because I was like, yes, that's food, but don't eat it.
While Stain's own children aren't deaf or hard of hearing, she says all kids and parents could benefit by learning ASL. And she's not the only one who believes this.
The research shows that babies will sign earlier than they can talk. Usually the first signs come about 9 months of age, whereas the first words come about 12 months of age. So especially when it's a hearing baby, then it will not inhibit their language or spoken skills at all. It usually enhances their, especially vocabulary skills as they get older.
Back at the ASL workshop, Stain says the hardest part about teaching ASL is having parents retain the information.
So the only tricky part is if the parents aren't paying attention. The babies, they don't have to be paying attention in class, but the parents do.
At the end of the day, Leanne hopes parents realize that communicating visually is just as powerful as using words.
Down, down.
Erin Gillen in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
More. Yes, we're doing more.
An electronic thrift store in East Van is turning tech trash into treasure. My co-anchor Jeff Mallow has more on Free Geek Vancouver's electronics program.
This electronics store on East Hastings finds homes for broken and obsolete hardware. Free Geek Vancouver understands the potential even of 20-year-old computers.
We also help the community in essential ways and helping them with computers and helping them with the e-waste and stuff, as well with the volunteer organizations.
When someone brings some old hardware into the store, the volunteers and instructors strip it down and then properly dispose of it. It's all part of their zero waste recycling program. Here, disposing the electronics is seen as a final option to be avoided if possible.
Recycle is great and helps the community in many ways, but reuse is the game changer. It's the thing that's going to make everything go long term.
Unlike recycle depots where electronics are donated and thrown away, Free Geek educates the community using whatever they are given.
The cool thing about a community is they become friends. And so it's almost like friends and family. Like you know these people, they come in on a regular basis.
Take Mike Frost, for example. He started as a volunteer 7 years ago with almost no prior knowledge of repairing laptops.
I was told by my doctor, stop beating your head against a wall, trying to find work in the area you hate anyway. Go volunteer someplace. So I came here.
Now Frost is passing his knowledge on to others to help them make new beginnings.
Say they're new to Canada. They have technical expertise from their home country, but no Canadian experience. They can get it here, and we'll give them a reference, and they'll get a job.
Frost says what some people might see as a pile of junk or scrap metal, he sees opportunities to empower the local community. Jeff Mell in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Oh, there it goes. That's better.
As the weather gets colder, people need to bundle up. Our reporter Daria Zargar finds out how a nonprofit clothing drive is helping vulnerable people in Vancouver stay warm.
Warm clothes are in high demand at this time of year. Hervana and Pace paired up to tackle this issue for the less fortunate people on the downtown east side. How are they going to do this? By hosting a clothing drive. Pace is a charitable organization that supports sex workers.
Christmas time, like for the holidays, they really try to get some really special and new items, you know, just to make little gift bags for their members so they can feel like it's really, you know, like a special time, which it is. So good.
They accept clothing all year round. The difference is now they're in higher demand.
The clothes that are donated here go directly to the people who need them. We put them out as soon as they come in, and the folks that access our services wear them, and we see them come in like days and weeks later wearing the clothes that they got here, and they always really, really appreciate it.
They mentioned they need a lot more donations to get through this next cold snap. More jewelry, heavy jackets, and comfier clothes. Daria Zargar in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
The Vancouver Canucks will no longer be able to call themselves the only NHL team in the Pacific Northwest. The city of Seattle is getting the 32nd NHL franchise starting in 2021.
The city of Surrey is postponing planned work on an ice rink in Cloverdale. Mayor Doug McCallum announced the postponement as a way to decrease city spending. Currently, the debt load is $316 million.
The 41st President of the United States of America passed away earlier this week. George Herbert Walker Bush passed away at the age of 94 after a battle with a form of Parkinson's. After serving as Vice President under Ronald Reagan, George Sr. sat in the Oval Office from 1988 to 1992. If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitnews.com. That was your BCIT Magazine for this week. A very special thanks to the Vancouver Christmas Market for having us. I'm Matt Lawson.
And I'm Jeff Mao. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with one last glimpse of the Vancouver Christmas Market. Happy holidays, everyone.